Hi guys.
Just give me a minute. I will be sharing my screen.
Yep.
Now it's my screen visible. My screen visible?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, sure. Just give me a minute. I'm about to complete this flow, but with it, yeah. This is just type. సో ఎలా జరిగింది ఇంటర్వ్యూ?
Not like interview అని కాదు, జస్ట్ లైక్ ప్రీ స్క్రీనింగ్ కాల్ లాగా. ఇక్కడ ఫ్రెషర్ కింద మా ఫార్మింగ్టన్ హిల్స్ లో ఉంది అంటున్నారు. $28 per hour అంట. సో చూస్తున్నా.
ఓకే, ఫ్రెషర్ లాగానా?
ఫ్రెషర్ డే టు డే యాక్టివిటీస్ మానిటరింగ్ చేయడం.
ఫంక్షనల్
SAP FICO.
ఓకే.
ఇప్పుడు మీరు దాని మీద ఇవ్వాలి నాకు నెక్స్ట్, ఒకవేళ ఇది షెడ్యూల్ అయితే. అంటే నేను కూడా చూస్తా, బట్ హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ అంటే బెస్ట్ అని నా ఫీలింగ్. ఎందుకంటే అది ఆన్ సైట్ 5 days per week.
ఓకే, కంపెనీలోనే. ఓకే. ఫైనాన్స్ కొంచెం ఓకే, ఐ థింక్, బట్ యూ నీడ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్ టర్మ్స్ సేమ్ లైక్ EPIM. ఓకే, ఎవరైనా అడిగారా మీరు అంటే ఫంక్షనల్ వెళ్ళాలా టెక్నికల్ వెళ్ళాలా?
ఒకవేళ అడిగినా కూడా నేను టెక్నో ఫంక్షనల్ అని చెప్తున్నా బ్రో, బికాజ్ ఐ కవర్డ్ బోత్ మాడ్యూల్స్ రైట్.
ఓకే, టెక్నో ఫంక్షనల్ ఈజ్ గుడ్. సో
చాట్‌జీపీటీని అడిగా అసలు నేను నా రెజ్యూమ్ ప్రకారం ఎందులోకి వస్తాను నేను, టెక్నికల్ ఫంక్షనల్ అంటే నువ్వు 2 మాడ్యూల్స్ కవర్ చేసావు కాబట్టి టెక్నో ఫంక్షనల్కి వస్తున్నావు, సో యూ కెన్ కవర్ బోత్ ఫేజెస్ అన్నట్టు మాట్లాడింది. సర్లే ఇదేదో బాగుంది కదా అని చెప్పి ఇంకా అదే చెప్పే రోజు. మొన్న ఎప్పుడో గూగుల్ చేసింది, ఈ రోజు ఉపయోగపడింది.
మిక్స్ చేశారు మీరు. ఫైన్, విల్ సీ. సో లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ ఏం డిస్కస్ చేసాం? ఐ థింక్ EPIM ప్లస్ APIM డిస్కస్ చేసాం కదా లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో. నోట్స్ ఇచ్చాను నేను యాక్చువల్లీ, ఆర్
ఇచ్చారు.
ఓకే,
కొంచెం దాంతో పాటు ఇంకా వేరే కూడా లింక్స్ ఇచ్చారు, చదువు ఇవి చూసుకో అని.
EPIMది కదా. ఓకే,
ట్యూటోరియల్ పాయింట్ అనుకుంటే ఇచ్చారు నాకు.
సో think bro, EPIM, it was just some different interest explore. ఇంక ఇది ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నా లేదు కదా?
వెరిఫై APIకి లేదనుకుంటా బ్రో.
Okay, we will come to this. I think we'll go with this only. I think rest countries explain చేస్తాను మీకు. అంటే so API is mainly for security. అంటే now by this time you know, right, at least what is API, proxy provider. Key value map ante certificate is just like authentication. If you are using any certificate based authentication, then we'll be using this. Policy template ante ippudu see we might have used this policy kada, like different policies. So I'm just showing like 1 or 2. So like this 4 policy we have used here. So usually in real time based on requirement they will use, but it will be more. See, they will be adding policy to verify IP address, API key, quota, and this rise forward also. Like if it is allowing somehow to go further, this fault is like red flag. It will give you that error. You shouldn't go further. Like that. spike arrest and all. So each policy, like whatever according to their requirement, they will use. Like if they want to use OAuth authentication, they will use those policies. The different kind of authentication are available. Most probably, they will be using OAuth 2, basic, and SAML. Verify API key is just to verify that client ID, client secret, but this is so basic. SML assertion generation, SML assertion validation is mostly when they're using SML based authentication or principal propagation, then they will be using that. Okay, because I won't be covering through all of this. Okay, this will take a lot of time. I'm just explaining, giving you idea. అంటే ఇలా this and all SML is too complex. Even seniors, like kind of 8 to 10 years experience వాళ్ళు యూస్ చేస్తారు.
వామ్మో!
So, I mean, it's not like we won't use, but if it is already developed in the landscape, what we'll do, we'll just go through and understand. But since like they won't expect you to, create new API with this level complicated authentication and all. If it is both or basic, then they will assign it to you that way. And traffic management policy kuda like access control is basically about IP whitelisting and all. మీరు ఫ్రీ ఉన్నప్పుడు just click on this access control, give access control. Where do you want to, sorry, access control. So then where do you want to add it? Incoming request or outgoing response, that way. So I will add it to incoming request. If you add this, see, it is already, but with definition it will say this policy can be used to selectively allow or block an IP or group of IPs. Enter the source IP address property. Okay. So what it says, access control, it's basically to restrict the IPs. Okay, say for example, there is an endpoint user or third party system. Okay, so which has like there will be many endpoint users. We don't want to give access to everyone. We want to give access to only one user who is properly have like end-to-end point knowledge, and who knows like what to access, what not to access, that level of knowledge. And for his laptop or his application, say some third-party application only, we'll be having specific IP address kada. So that IP address we'll be adding here. So what it's saying, this is common for all. So we can change these values also. If you want to, if you want to disable also for some reason, you can come here and click on false. Then it will not. This policy will become inactive. Then continue on error. If you give like true, even if some error is there in it, it is like inactive only. But still, sometimes when during testing time or development time, right? So there will be many users in production. There will be some other user in day one QA. There will be some other user. So even though you want to give access, you can't give. So that way you will be knowing that okay, we need to allow access for this user also. Then what you will do, instead of rather than changing all the removing these policies and all, you will just come here, you will click on enable equal false, so that it will allow the some other guy also to test this API. Just only day one QA, not in production. Production లో మనం ఏం వర్షనింగ్ ఇక్కడ కూడా వర్షనింగ్ ఉంటుంది. That versioning will be maintaining. So what else it says, IP rules, no rule match action equal to allow, means if uh, if it is like match rule action equal to deny, that means you don't have to give access to this IP address. We are restricting that IP address here. So if say for example you want to allow for, you can do two ways also, right? Either you restrict the access for the users whom you don't want to give access, or you allow the address only for those IP addresses, that way. So here by default they are saying like manage rule reduction equal to deny. Instead of that, if you click on allow, then it will allow this IP address. Simple. You just need to click on allow or deny. And if you want to add multiple IP addresses, what you need to do, you just need to copy this Just need to click on this again and say some other IP address. So I will give like just remove this. I'll just give like 123456789. Then that IP address it will or you can click on deny. It will restrict. Simple way. So it's basically traffic. It manages the traffic which you want to enter, which you want to allow the access the data, which for which applications you don't want to allow the access. Same way like quota, reset quota we saw last time. Same way the spike arrest, like how within 1 minute how much request can come in, how much request can it hit the backend that way. Quota and Spikeras both are same, but Quota is Spikeras is like within 1 minute you can allow only 2 seconds. It's like a shorter
Yeah.
interval. Okay, Quota is for larger interval. Within 1 hour or within 10 hours you can allow only this many requests. And one more difference is there. Say for example, this is like 1 minute lo 2 calls allow ante what Spiker rest will do 30 seconds ki one call, rest another 30 seconds ki one call. ఇలా బైఫర్కేట్ చేస్తుంది ఈక్వల్ గా. బట్ కోటా ఇస్ నాట్ లైక్ దట్. 1 hour లో 10 calls అలో చేస్తున్నామంటే what it will do, you can call that API 10 times within 10 seconds only. Rest 50 seconds you can't call. It doesn't bifurcate equally. If you call like, but it doesn't allow more than that. మీకు అర్థమైంది కదా, అంటే 1 minute లో 10 seconds లో నేను అన్ని 10 calls I will complete, then 50 seconds I will rest అంటే ఓకే ఫైన్ అంటుంది. బట్ స్పైకర్ రెస్ట్ అలా కాదు. 30 seconds నువ్వు 1 call చేసావా, వెయిట్ చేయి, నెక్స్ట్ 30 seconds you do another call అలా. So based on requirement, that is also will be doing. And same way like mediation policy is basically like if you want to do some transformation, JSON to XML, XML to JSON, raise fault, key value map operation, extract variables అంటే ఏమైనా ఒక వేరియబుల్ XML లో one variable if you want to extract, then you will be using this. Assign message also same way. Like if you want to assign something, then you can do that. Okay. Then same way extension policy కూడా like service call out అని ఒకటి ఉంది. Like if you want to call some third party API like or some other API directly within one API. Within this API you want to call GW sample demo, that you can do using service call out. Or if open connector kuda like open connector is basically a part of integration suite, but they have added in EPM. It enables you to connect with the third party adapter, kind of third party APIs. Yeah, same way message logging అవన్నీ కూడా same. So I'll just show you. సో రివిజన్లో మీకు ఇక్కడ ఎలా వర్షనింగ్ నుంచి మెయింటైన్ చేయొచ్చు అంటే ఇలా. if you just click on save as revision, you just need to give like 1.0.0, then say like some final version. Once you click on save, that version will be saved. You just need to click on deploy again once you change on the version. Okay. Okay, so now if you want to revert, like if you add one more version, say I will click on edit again and do some dummy changes. Okay, I'll click on save. I'll go to revision. I will click on save as revision 1.0.1. Say dummy changes. Save. Click on deploy. Then now we will have an option called as revert. Same way as you do in CPI, right? If you want to revert back to this version, you can revert. That versioning will be available here. And you can see here also like what is the deployed revision, what is the revision available, that will be same. So now if you come here, you will have an option revert. You can revert back to this version, but you won't be having revert option here because there is only this version available, right? It is already in this version. So okay, now if you want to debug on this, you just need to click on debug, start debug, and if you go here EPIM, if you just like call that API, which is a GW sample basic, Send. See, it now came. Okay. You're getting the response also. And if you come here and click on refresh, you can see all the it came, the request came in. It's the get call.
Yeah.
And just you can see like who is calling, like who is calling this API, and what is his client ID, what is his, and there are some headers and all which is like which will be helpful for you to consider, like API key and all is there, right? There is something called as IP address. Here X forwarded for, this is the IP address of the postman which I sent from. So if you want to deny or allow, you can use that access control policy and you can do that. Yeah. So APM, like not everybody uses APM, but companies like telecom company, or if it is like government companies, if the data is too confidential. Okay, for some of the interfaces like government interfaces, tax interfaces and all, or like master data interfaces and all. Central inbox అది ఇది ఉంటుంది కదా, అంటే పర్చేస్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్, those are like too confidential. It has to be within two companies, or within our own company. The data has to be shared within those companies only. Then we will be using APAM. Okay. And then we have set header policies also. I think I can just show you how did I do that. So there is this message, right? Like here, mm, if you want to know like which policy is that, using symbol you can see. So this is just assign message and if you see this also, I think below one assign message is there. In the policies only it will be there. I think in every policy. Just check in other policies. In every policies, it will start with that policy name. Verify API key. See, verify API key. Reset quota. Set quota. Assign message. So basically, the code will be there inside that. When you click on this, you just need to change the parameters inside it. నాకు ఇది ఈ పీరియడ్ వద్దు, వేరే ఏమైనా పీరియడ్ కావాలంటే అది అసైన్ చేయాలంటే అంతే. Or if you want to enable or disable, it is most probably configuration stuff. And you just need to establish the connectivity between right things and all. Like if you want to add APIs in the product, the hierarchy is like this: application, where you will get application key and secret, that is in the developer hub enterprise. You just need to click on this 9 box, and then you will get in this developer hub, where you will be hosting the application. Under that application you will be having product. Product is like collection of proxies which does a similar actions. So here we'll be seeing you just need to click on my workspace, and if you want to create a new application, you have to create an application here. But before that, even the hierarchy is like first application, product, then proxy, then using provider you will be setting the proxies, but you have to create in the reverse way. ఫస్ట్ ప్రాక్సీ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి, అంటే ప్రొవైడర్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి, తర్వాత ప్రాక్సీ, తర్వాత ప్రోడక్ట్, తర్వాత అప్లికేషన్. వై? బికాస్ యూజింగ్ provider only you will be getting the host, and you will be adding the proxies and all. Okay. So that is with respect to APIM. For today, I think APIM is almost completed. Policy template ఒక టాపిక్ ఉంది, మీకు చెప్తానండి. So we will come back to CPI. CPI లో we will deal with persistence variable data store. Okay, I just created one flow. I will just show you first where it will be. This is called as persistence. Okay, we have like three options here: persist, write variables, and in data store operation, delete, git, select, write. Okay,
Yep.
so what does this do? Data store operation, or what does write variables do? Persist. So as the name says, it stores the data for some time. Like if you want to store some data for temporarily or permanently, not permanently, because we have like this archiving rules and all in CPA. Like if you want to store data for some time temporarily or within the flow or outside the flow, then you will be using the date. It like if you want to you want to persist the data for some time in some place using variable or something, then you will be using the persistence. Okay, I'll just give you real time example. Say for example, there is like we are replicating an employee master data. Okay, so an HR will be HR consultant will be running some job. And there are some
Okay.
like 1 lakh job employees are there in a company. Okay, so they have updated some hike and all, and that has to be replicated in both the success factor and SAP backend.
Okay.
So um, one within 1 day only, you can't send all the data. Okay, there might be some like the load will be too much and all, or the batch job doesn't take that much load and all. So what you will do, you will be sending 10,000 data for 10 days, like 10,000 employees data, 1 day కి 10,000 employees data సెండ్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, బట్ ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే the CPA has to know like what is the last employee which it got updated. అది
Okay.
ఒక ప్లేస్ లో స్టోర్ చేయాలి కదా. ఎలా స్టోర్ చేస్తాం? సో దట్ so and whether do you want to expose it globally so that other iflows can also use it, or you want to keep it restricted to only that iflow? Do you want to make it a global variable? Do you want to make it a local variable? So that option, and అది ఎలా చేస్తామని we will see today. Okay, so I have this here is data store. Yeah, so we have this orders. Okay, orders Northwind data ne same order entity undi. Okay, so what we are doing, we are filtering an order ID greater than 0. Okay, GT ante greater than 0,
Okay.
and dollar order by equal to order ID. Okay, if I click on this, ikkada maku it is starting with 10248. That means the OData API itself is starting the order ID with 10248 at the starting point. Okay, so we have the data till 10447, and then we have something called as OData next link. Ikkada we are not getting full response. There are other IDs also after this. Okay, there are like some 830 IDs.
Okay.
Okay, how I will get to know is because like when I this one only, right? Yeah. So I will revert to this version. No, which is it? Not in this. So I've used the same API over here. Like I just connected to that Vodata API and say Northwind Vodata, and we have used the orders. And I just use a dollar select order ID customer ID. Okay. If I click on send to that API, that API flow. So it fits the same, like the order ID is starting with 10248, and if you just filter with it's capital, right? Order ID. Sorry, I think I need to apply it. It's the same version only, and if I click on send here, see there are like 830 entries over here. Okay, so what? Imagine like this is success factor employee records. So there are like 830 employees. Okay, I will send
Mm.
100 employee, 100 employee, 100 employee for 8 days. But
Okay.
CPA has to store this last data, last order like 11077 the I in the from next like when you click on send or run job for next time, it should fetch from 11078 that data. How we will do? We will use the data store operations for this. Okay, I'll just show you what we have to do. So what we did, we have defined one property, okay, to fetch that last processed order ID or last processed employee ID. It will be
Mm.
like this one. Real time లో కూడా ఇక్కడే ఉంటుంది లాస్ట్ ప్రాసెస్ ఎంప్లాయీ ఐడి అని ఉంటుంది ఇక్కడ ఆర్డర్ అని ఉంది అంతే. ఓకే, సో ప్రాపర్టీలో వాట్ వి విల్ డూ, we have defined one, we will be defining one variable with this name only. Okay, that is called as local variable. We want to keep it local to this flow only. We don't want any other flow to use it. We have one more variable called as global variable ఇక్కడ. If you want to use that variable in another flow, then you will keep it as a global variable. But now you don't want to keep it. You just have to keep it as a local variable. Okay.
Mm.
So we will be defining that later, or else I'll show you with that version only. 0.5. Okay. If you see this, this is data store operation. The symbol కనిపిస్తుంది కదా, write or update existing variables in data store. So what there are like options here. What we did, we have given this name for this value, last order ID. Okay, from
Yeah.
where we are getting, we are getting that from NW last processed order ID. So this is the name of the local variable which stores the value of the last order ID. Order ID ఎక్కడ ఉంది ఇది. సో ఈ 11077 అన్న వాల్యూ ఉంది కదా, ఆ వాల్యూ ఇక్కడ వస్తుంది. దట్ విల్ బి అసైన్ టు దిస్ NW లాస్ట్ processed order ID.
Mm.
Okay, for first time it will be like 110077. So next time when it runs, right, it will
Mm.
come here. So it will fetch with the NW last processed order ID. I will show you how it will fetch. Before that, so that I defined that local variable here and then set last order ID. I've how it will fetch, we have like standard camel expression. Okay, last any ఇచ్చి then see the expert expression is simple, you know it already. Orders order order ID ఇలా ఉండాలి. ఓకే,
Yeah.
ఆర్డర్స్ ఆర్డర్ సేమ్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి
Mm.
ఉంది ఇక్కడ, బట్ వీ వాంట్ ఓన్లీ ద లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి. సో దట్స్ వై వీ హ్యావ్ గివెన్ దిస్ like orders order and then last order ID in a separate bracket. That's how common expressions work, and we have added one router also. Like just check like whether if it has, if it is the last order ID or not. Okay, now if I click on deploy, I will show you like how it works. So we have something called as variables here. Like earlier it was not there. I'll just delete this. So we used to see this array, right? Everything was zero. So all the local variable and global variables will be stored here. Okay. Now it is empty. Now if I just click on send. Okay. Now it started with 10248. Okay. Then ended with 10347. And this got created. Okay. And if you see, the last order now is 10347, which is nothing but this. You getting my point, right?
కొంచెం
Now
కన్ఫ్యూజింగ్ గా ఉంది బట్
అంటే we
మళ్ళీ
just
వింటే అర్థమైంది.
what we are doing, we are just storing that last order ID in the data store variable. We are writing that variable separately so that next time when I run this, it should run from 10347. ఇప్పుడు నేను I will just click on send again. Okay. So now it is starting with 10348. ఎలా సిపిఐకి ఎలా తెలిసిపోయింది 10347 రన్ అయింది? You have to start from 10348 అని because of this variable. Now if you click on this, it is 10447. Same way CPI లో కూడా like success factor employee ID అనుకో 1 lakh employees అని ఉంటే 10,000 ఎంప్లాయీ one day రన్ చేస్తాం కదా, నెక్స్ట్ డే when he comes and runs, it should start with the 10,001 first employee. How it will run? Here one variable will be storing the 10,001 employee and 10,000 employee ID. Next day it will give that. Okay, I'll just switch on trace and show it to you, then you will be understand. Trace. సెండ్ చేస్తున్నాను. See now we have defined that content modifier here. You go to message content, header, ఇవన్నీ వచ్చింది, properties, this is all okay. So the next step will have this last property header ID. See that NW last processed order ID is 10447. ఇప్పుడు 10448 నుంచి వచ్చింది కదా, సో దట్ దిస్ NW 10477 ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది? If you see this content modifier, we have defined something called as local variable. Local variable ఎక్కడ డిఫైన్ చేసాం మనం? It is not a So if you see this, it's with the same name, NW last processed order ID, NW last processed order ID, NW last processed order ID. So this is the local variable. You can see that variables. This is local. How we can see whether it is local or global? If the visibility is within the integration flow, you can use this variables value only within this integration flow only, not inside some other flow. Then it will become local variable. No, there is one option called global scope here. Okay. So if you enable this, it will become global variable. Whatever, I'll just click on save and just click on deploy. Yes. Okay. Click on send now. Now there will be one more variable created. See global. ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి డిసడ్వాంటేజ్, ఎందుకు మనం లోకల్ వేరియబుల్ గ్లోబల్ వేరియబుల్ అంటే, now that I have defined it as a global, I can use it in another iflow also. There, if I just create some another iflow, and if I just give like get variable from this global variable, value is the NW last processed order ID from this variable అని చెప్తే, then it will be fetching that. I don't want that data to be leaked in some other iflow. I want it to be confidential. What we can do, we can get this info and we can send it to some other receiver. Say some Ariba receiver. We don't want that data to be leaked, right? We just want
Yeah.
to keep it very local to that flow. That's why we are, like, if we want to use it that way, like some other flow and really data covalent in, then you can just go keep it as a global scope. For some flows, we really give it as a global scope, like generic ga unte. But since it is not, the order is not generic, right? It is with respect to some company only. So that is how it fetch the, where is it? Yeah, that is how it fetch the NW last process order ID. Then what it will do, you can see exchange properties law. Where ఇక్కడ ఉంది? If you see this request URL, get HTTP services, then now okay, order customer ID top equal to 100. We have choose that in the URL and request reply lo. మళ్ళీ top 100 అని choose చేస్తాం. Then filter equal to order ID greater than, we have defined that property.nw last processed order ID, so that even though when I'm not giving any ID in the URL, we are making it as dynamic. This property.nw last processed order ID, how it is fetching that, that is fetching from this content modifier. It's a title ఉంటుంది. So this is fetching 10447 and it is using that 10447 here. Filter equal to order ID. This is CPI is making it as URL encoded. Okay, percentage GT ante greater than percentage 20 ante. We have defined some space right here. If you see there is some space here, there is some space here. CPI will understand space as percentage 20. Okay. The URL encode చేస్తుంది, so that others won't be able to see that. And then it is using the $property dot NW value తీసుకొని, then it will, when it does a query, then it will get the next employer, next order ID data. Okay. So then what it does, it is storing in the last order ID. I mean, it is like it fetches the last order ID of this sequence. So ఇక్కడ sequence లో last order ID ఏంటి, 10647. If you see this sequence లో last order ID ఏంటి, 10547. 10447 తో స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి 10547 అక్కడ స్టోర్ చేస్తుంది. And then again if it has some value, so it sets last order ID value as this, so that next run lo, when it runs next time, if you see 10547 ఇది రైట్ వేరియబుల్ తర్వాత ఏమవుతుంది, here only you can see NW last process order ID 10447 ఉంది, లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ID 10547 ఉంది. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ కూడా సేమ్. Then again when I click on send next time, did I switch on the trace for that? నేను క్లిక్ చేసానండి. ఇక్కడ నువ్వు చూస్తే 10547 ఉంటుంది.
సేల్స్ కంటెంట్ లాయర్స్
ఎలా వచ్చింది అంటే ఆర్డర్ ఐడి వాల్యూ తీసుకుని మనం 10547 లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి కదా ప్రీవియస్ మెసేజ్ లో, సో దట్ వాల్యూ వి విల్ బి అసైనింగ్ టు దిస్ వాల్యూ. we are writing the last order ID value to the local variable.
Yeah.
Okay.
దీనికి నాకు లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ఉన్న నెంబర్ వాల్యూ కావాలి. అది అని దీనికి ఇవ్వడం కోసమే లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి అనేది వాల్యూలో ఎంటర్ చేసాం మనం, అంతేనా?
అంతే. అది ఎలా వచ్చింది? అది కంటెంట్ మాడిఫైయర్ లో ఒక క్యామెల్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ ఇచ్చాం. ఆర్డర్ లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి. ఆ ప్రాపర్టీనే మనం ఇక్కడ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం.
ఓకే. ఆ ప్రాపర్టీని లాస్ట్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి అనే విధంగా అసైన్ చేసి, ఆ అసైన్ చేసిన దాన్ని మళ్ళీ ఈ నేమ్ కి అసైన్ చేసాం.
ఈ నేమ్ కి అసైన్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఇది వచ్చి ఇది లోకల్ వేరియబుల్. ఇది NW లాస్ట్ ప్రాసెస్డ్ ఆర్డర్ ఐడి. ఎక్కడ డిఫైన్ చేసాం? అది లోకల్ వేరియబుల్ అని ఇక్కడ
ఫస్ట్ లో.
So the next time when it fetches, now the value will be 10547. ఆ 10547 ని ఈ నేమ్ ఈ వేరియబుల్ కి అసైన్ చేస్తా, so that it will run again. So if I run like after అన్ని 10642 okay, 10742, 10842, so all 830 done now. Last instance లో 30 వచ్చింది. Now it is all done. Okay, ఇప్పుడు వాల్యూ ఏమని వస్తుంది అంటే ఇట్ విల్ రిమైన్ సేమ్. లోకల్ వేరియబుల్ కి వెళ్ళి చూస్తే గ్లోబల్ చేసాను లేదు. ఓకే, 11077 మళ్ళీ అది చేంజ్ అవ్వదు. 11077 is the last ID. Okay, and if you see here visibility at the local level global adi, and then you can see when it was updated towards 6/2025 and retained until November 10, 2026. 1 year దాకా రిటైన్ చేయొచ్చు ఈ డేటాని. ఓకే, if you want you can download it also, but in real time you won't be having download access. Business consultant మాత్రమే ఉంటుంది, because డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తే అది కంటెంట్ అన్ని లీక్ అవుతుంది కదా, ఐడి అవన్నీ. సో దట్స్ వై. అండ్ 1 year it's not like that within a gap of 1 year they are like the entire force is not going to run for 1 year, అలా కాదు. But 1 year దాకా we can keep it inside the data store అలా. Okay, so even for the errors and all, right, if you want to retry PA, when we were using PO earlier, PO PA, so we have an option called as resend in PA monitoring itself. When it errors out in PA, we used to click on that resend and it is to process again. But CPI lo akkada resend option ani em ledu. So what we will do, here ఇది వేరియబుల్ కి ఇక్కడ ఆప్షన్ ఉంది కదా, సేమ్ వే we have like another data store. We have seen this, right? What is that? ఇది వేరియబుల్స్. ఇది మనం ఇప్పుడు యూస్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఇది సింబల్ చూస్తే you'll be get to know. Okay, this is rate variables, but there is something called as data store operation. Write, select, get, delete. ఇక్కడ write మనం యూస్ చేస్తే just if it is write operation, that will come under here data store. ఓకే, అక్కడ ఏం ఆప్షన్ ఉంటుందంటే, సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు గివ్ సమ్ నేమ్ డేటా స్టోర్ అని. ఓకే, విల్ సే DS SFTP ఎర్రర్ అని ఒక డేటా స్టోర్ క్రియేట్ చేసి, ఓకే, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద మెసేజ్ goes in error, that will go to this data store. We will store that error in here and then again we will keep on retrying using some other flow. Visibility global అని ఇచ్చేస్తాం. అండ్ దెన్ ఎంట్రీ ఐడి విల్ బి లైక్ $header ఎంట్రీ ఐడి. ఒక హెడర్ డిఫైన్ చేస్తాం ఇక్కడ, సో దట్ we will store all the errors at one place and we will retry all together at a time, or within so and so interval you retry. That's how we manage an exception sub process, exception handling చేస్తాం, part of an support consultant day to day life. బట్ డెవలప్మెంట్లోనే ఇవన్నీ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ కన్సిడర్ చేయాలి. విత్ ఇన్ ఎవ్రీ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఫ్లో మనకి ఎక్సెప్షన్ సబ్ ప్రాసెస్ ఉండాలి. ఓకే, ఇన్ రియల్ టైం ఇక్కడ ఎక్కడైనా ఫెయిల్యూర్ వస్తే ఇట్ షుడ్ హ్యాండల్ ఇఫ్ పాసిబుల్ విత్ ఇన్ హియర్, లైక్ విత్ ఇన్ ద ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఫ్లో. ఇఫ్ నాట్ యూ గో టు ద డేటా స్టోర్ అండ్ యూ రీట్రై ఆఫ్టర్ సమ్ టైమ్ అలా. ఆర్ ఫిక్స్ చేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ప్రాసెస్ చేయలాగా చేయాలి డిజైన్. ఓకే, దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు కీప్ ఇన్ మైండ్. దట్ కమ్స్ లైక్ వన్ ఆర్ టూ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ డెవలప్ చేస్తే మీకే, ఆర్ లైక్ రియల్ టైంలో చూస్తే ఎలా డెవలప్ చేశారు అని మీ విల్ గెట్ నో ఈజీలీ. బట్ డేటా స్టోర్ అర్థమైంది కదా, లైక్ వాట్ వీ విల్ డూ విత్ రైట్ వేరియబుల్స్. సో ఇఫ్ యూ సీ రియల్ టైమ్ సినారియో, suppose your customer syncs daily order data from an external system. You can't download everything each time. You must only fetch new ones since last sync. You see local or global variable persistence to remember the last sync point. Last timestamp kuda cheyochu, last ID kuda cheyochu. ఇలా చేస్తారు even in real time.
Okay.
And they will ask like what is the difference between local and global variable. Global variable అంటే you can use it in another integration flow also. You can fetch the variable value inside other flow also, but local variable is specific to that integration flow itself. How do you persist state across iFlow runs? We'll use the global variable. Okay. How would you handle concurrency or parallel calls when writing global variables? Until we will be using the splitter gather one and all streaming enable chestam. I think that is there in another flow. Read global variable ఉంది. ఇక్కడ జనరల్ స్ప్లిటర్ యూస్ చేసాం కదా, ప్యారలలిజం అన్ని ఇది ఇంకా ఫుల్ గా డిప్లాయ్ చేయలేదు. ఐ వాజ్ జస్ట్ డూయింగ్ దిస్ అండ్ దెన్ వి హ్యాడ్ a call. So this I will explain it tomorrow. Okay.
Sure.
Today you got to know what is how we are using the local variable, right? Okay. So 10 minutes ఉంది. I'll just explain MM part. Okay.
పర్లేదు అది ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేద్దరు, నాకు ఎంఎం అంత ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాదు.
అవునా? ఓకే. Just give that notes 1 minute.
ఇప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ అవ్వాలి నేను కూడా.
క్లోజ్ చేసాను, పేస్ట్ చేశాను. You can take a look once you're free. Okay. సరే అయితే have a nice day. Enjoy.